Today I am here with a character story, and in this video I will be telling you the entire life of Bill Cipher from the animated series Gravity Falls. Together, we will uncover the dark past of Bill Cipher. However, before we start, if you enjoy this video and would like to support our channel, you can take just 2 seconds to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Bill Cipher was born in a two-dimensional universe, even before the human race and the planet Earth. Over time, he began to despise this universe he lived in. He didn't like his own two-dimensional universe and saw the beings within it as low intelligence and shallow. This situation made Bill Cipher weary and hateful over time. After all, he had millions of years to live. If he were to live only a century like humans, he might tolerate it. But with a lifespan of millions of years, it seems unbearable. Anyway, Bill Cipher devised a plan. He planned to create chaos in his universe to liberate it. He destroyed all beings in his universe, including his family. After his dimension, he moved to another dimension called the Nightmare Dimension. However, this dimension had inconsistent physical laws and was at risk of collapsing on its own. In the end, this dimension would collapse upon itself, but Bill Cipher liked this dimension and wanted to do everything he could to prevent its destruction. Finally, he learned of a prophecy. Bill will merge the Nightmare Realm with the third dimension, our realm. Of course, after learning this, he started communicating with humans to fulfill the prophecy and save his dimension. However, since he didn't have a physical form, he could only communicate with humans through dreams. To introduce himself, he took the name Bill Cipher, as revealing his true name could have negative effects on people, potentially even killing some of them. Therefore, Bill Cipher chose to hide his real name and adopt the alias Bill Cipher. Later, Bill contacted a human named Wise Modoc, a shaman sorcerer. Bill asked this shaman to build a dimensional gateway to the Nightmare Realm. Initially, Wise Modoc seemed to help him, but when Modoc learned of a prophecy foretelling an apocalypse due to his interaction with Bill Cipher, he set himself on fire and committed suicide to prevent it. Of course, Bill Cipher thus failed to achieve his goal. As a result, he continued to enter people's dreams, seeking their help and manipulating them. The local people, disturbed by this situation, discovered a way to defeat Bill Cipher using a zodiac with 10 symbols. They left behind detailed cave paintings depicting their encounters with demons, instructions on how to summon him, and most importantly, a warning to never read aloud the magical words used to summon him. Around 1000 AD, the area was abandoned by the natives and was considered a cursed valley. Years later, this region was rediscovered by Quentin Tremblay, and these founders named it Gravity Falls. It once again became an inhabited area. In later times, our children's missing uncle Stanford settled in Gravity Falls and began to investigate the oddities in the area. Despite all his research, he still couldn't figure out how to explain these events. He didn't give up on his research and eventually uncovered the ancient cave containing the stories of the ancient people about Bill Cipher. Ignoring all the warnings, Ford recited the spell aloud and summoned Bill Cipher into his own mind. Once Bill entered Ford's brain, he saw Ford's brilliant but arrogant and insecure feelings, as well as his lack of friends, as ideal conditions to manipulate. Bill chose to present himself as a muse who selects a brilliant mind every century to inspire. It was Bill Cipher who explained to Ford that the oddities of Gravity Falls were due to a rift between dimensions, and the strangeness of the other dimension was leaking through. Later, with Bill's help, Stanford prepared plans to create an interdimensional portal under the mystery shack we know today and hired his college friend Fiddleford McGucket to assist him. Over time, Ford began to feel a great deal of sympathy for Bill, so much sympathy that he started collecting triangular-shaped statues and other interesting triangular objects. He even arranged the shape of his house according to this interest and turned his private study into a place of worship. Of course, later on, McGucket noticed Ford's strange behavior and began to worry about him. Because when he thought about it, he didn't even know why they were doing what they were doing. Still, he tried to think positively because Ford was his friend and they continued to work together. Eventually, they finished their work, and on January 18, 1982, Stanford and his friend conducted the first test of the active portal. However, when they planned to send a puppet tied to a string through the portal, the string got tangled around Fiddleford, and he was sent through the portal for a short time. Of course, Stanford immediately saved his friend and shut down the portal. But when Fiddleford returned, he was different. Later, he realized how dangerous the project was and decided to quit. Later, when we looked at his diaries, we understood what Fiddleford had seen and why he was so scared. It turned out that when he passed through the portal, he saw Bill shedding his outer skeleton to feed. Understandably, he left the project and, due to what he had seen, gradually lost his sanity, becoming the crazy bearded man in Gravity Falls. Later on, Ford heeded his friend's warnings about these events and, due to the doubts that arose in him, had a confrontation with Bill. Ford realized that Bill had deceived him. The portal that Ford had built was actually a gateway to the nightmare dimension, allowing the demon to bring chaos and destruction. Horrified and feeling betrayed, Ford met with his brother Stan and warned him about all the dangers involving Bill Cipher and the portal. Ford wanted to destroy all the information related to Bill Cipher and the portal, but Stan opposed this idea, leading to a fight between the brothers. As a result of their struggle, the portal accidentally activated and Ford was lost in the dimensions. Over the next 30 years, Stan did everything he could to bring his brother back, trying to reactivate the portal, but most of his attempts ended in failure. Of course, then the Gravity Falls cartoon started and Bill Cipher was first seen physically in Season 1, Episode 19. The character Gideon was doing everything to take over the Mystery Shack again, but his plans always failed. Finally, he used the journal he had to summon Bill Cipher and asked him to find out the code to Stan's safe, making a deal in the process. While Gideon and Bill Cipher were making this deal, Seuss and Mabel witnessed these events and then told Dipper. Together, they used the information in Dipper's journal to enter their granduncle's mind, trying their best to prevent Bill from learning the safe's code. However, in the end, a last-minute move by Mabel caused the code to fall into a bottomless pit, preventing Gideon from getting it. When Gideon found out, he immediately broke the deal. Bill Cipher became very angry and things got complicated. While Bill was trying to take control, Dipper realized at the last moment that they could use their imagination to become super powerful and defeat Bill. Their imagination was at its peak, and with this power, they managed to defeat and expel Bill from Stan's mind. Thus, the episode ended this way. In Season 2, Episode 4, Bill appeared again. In this episode, Dipper was trying to crack the password of Ford's laptop, which he had found in previous episodes. Bill then appeared and wanted to make a deal for the password, but Dipper refused. In later scenes, Dipper entered the password incorrectly so many times that the laptop began a countdown to self-destruct. Bill reappeared and reminded Dipper of the deal. Dipper finally accepted this deal. According to the deal, Dipper would only give Bill a puppet, but it wasn't specified which puppet. Thus, Bill Cipher chose Dipper as the puppet and entered his body. He then destroyed the laptop because it contained information he didn't want Dipper to learn. After these events, Bill Cipher started searching for Dipper's journal, and now as a ghost, Dipper did everything he could to prevent this. Eventually, Dipper regained his body and they saved the journal. Thus, they defeated Bill Cipher for that episode. In episode 11 of Season 2, Stan succeeded in his goal of bringing his brother back, and Ford managed to return from his dimension. However, their conflict continued, but ultimately they reconciled and decided to work together. In the following episodes, Ford cast a spell around the cabin to prevent Bill Cipher from entering anyone's mind inside the cabin. Later, the glass of the dome where Ford hid the rift in space-time began to crack. If this dome broke, a great catastrophe would occur, and the evil beings from Bill's dark dimension would come to Earth, causing massive destruction. Of course, Ford and Dipper did everything they could to protect the dome, and they ultimately succeeded. Towards the end of the episode, Ford offered Dipper to stay with him because they made a good team. However, this situation upset Mabel, leading to a fight between Dipper and Mabel. Mabel, feeling sad, ran into the forest and sat under a tree crying by herself. Just then, a time-traveling entity known as the Time Traveler appeared and asked Mabel for the dome that Ford and Dipper were trying to fix. Of course, he tricked Mabel by saying, "If you break this dome, you can live this summer for as long as you want." He dazzled her with his words, and somehow Mabel and Dipper's bags got mixed up. The dome was in Dipper's bag, which ended up in Mabel's hands. Mabel believed the fancy words of the time traveler and gave him the dome. However, Mabel later realized that the time traveler was actually Bill Cipher. Bill Cipher seized the rift and shattered the dome, opening interdimensional portals and physically arriving in the world. Chaos ensued, and Bill began to reshape the town as he pleased. Ford tried to stop Bill but failed, and Bill froze him. Then Dipper also tried to stop Bill but was unsuccessful. Bill burned all the journals and wanted to spread the weirdness of Gravity Falls to the entire world, but they couldn't, because before Ford turned to stone, he cast a spell around the town, and only he could break this spell. Bill, knowing this, entered Ford's mind, but Ford did not accept Bill's offers. And he didn't tell him how to raise the shield. Of course, things didn't go well for Bill after that, and he started torturing Ford. But then he began to think that there was too much noise outside. When he looked outside, he saw that they had turned the shack into Shacktron. Our gang had turned the shack into a giant robot and started to fight. Using Shacktron, our gang easily defeated Bill's minions and eventually faced off against Bill. Because of the great shield around the shack, Bill couldn't harm it, giving our gang the advantage. They then used Shacktron to tear out Bill's eye and secretly entered Bill's pyramid. They turned all the petrified people back to normal. Then Ford drew the 10-symbol zodiac that the ancient people had created to defeat Bill. Each person stood in the place representing their symbol, but due to the disagreement between Ford and Stan, they missed their chance to destroy Bill. Bill then appeared and captured them all again. In the following scenes, Dipper and Mabel managed to escape from where they were imprisoned. Of course, Bill Cipher started chasing them. When Bill caught them and was about to kill them, Ford accepted Bill's offer and agreed to let him enter his mind to learn how to raise the shield. Immediately afterward, Bill entered Ford's mind, but realized that he had actually entered Stan's mind. Our gang had set a trap for Bill. Ford began erasing all data in Stan's mind with the memory erasing machine to completely destroy Bill. When Stan's mind was erased, Bill would be completely erased with him. Despite Bill's last-minute pleas, Ford didn't stop and erased all of Stan's mind. Thus, Stan sacrificed himself along with Bill. Of course, after that, all the weirdness apocalypse ended and everything returned to normal. At the end of the episode, Stan somehow regained his memory, but Bill Cipher never returned, meaning Bill was eternally gone. In some theories, it is revealed that when Bill was about to be completely erased from Stan's mind, he said something reversed and asked for help from a being named Exol. There are theories that he could return through these means, but since the creators have officially announced that there will be no new episodes, we are certain that Bill Cipher will not be returning. Thus, with the season finale, Bill Cipher's life also came to an end. We have come to the end of this episode as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this and liked this one, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel in just 2 seconds. Thank you in advance. Without further ado, see you in the next content. Goodbye.